Welcome back. In the previous class, I have talked about the stability about the equilibrium point. What we found that in nonlinear system particularly, we have isolated equilibrium point. And what we have observed that if you start from the equilibrium point, you are going to remain there forever, provided some external force or external disturbance will not act on the system. Now, suppose that if I start in the neighborhood of the equilibrium point, then what is our behavior? And in the previous class, what we have found that behavior is captured by the definition of Lyapunov stability about the equilibrium point. So if I know the equilibrium point, then I will create two balls about the equilibrium point. One ball where initial condition is going to lie, or we will choose the initial condition because I am assuming autonomous system, non-autonomous system. Whenever I have forced system, I will design some kind of feedback and again convert into autonomous or non-autonomous system. And due to that reason, there is no need to worry when we have external U also comes into picture. And after that, creates after creating one ball that is called initial condition ball, we have another ball that is ball of the future state xt. And you might have seen that whenever I am talking about two balls, first I am telling that I will select the output ball, and corresponding to output ball there exists some kind of input ball, and here we have seen that input is nothing but the initial condition and output is nothing but the future trajectory. So somehow epsilon and delta is related to the initial condition and future trajectory. So let us try to again recall the definition. So this time I am going to write definition in symbolic form. Most of time if you see the control system book or book of mathematics, people try to write definition in symbolic form, and from symbol everything become very clear. So what we are telling, okay, again I have some kind of autonomous system. One can extend this definition for non-autonomous system, we have already seen that, and x belongs to Rn, and I have initial condition. So initial condition I am assuming that x t equal to 0, t equal to 0 is 0, you can assume. So initial condition is x0, I am assuming x0 equal to x0, or you can write like this, both are fine. So and after that, without loss of generality, I am assuming that x equal to 0 is the equilibrium point. If this model is only valid in some vicinity, at that time you have to write x belongs to D and D is the subset of Rn. And after that we are writing stability like this. For every epsilon there exists a delta that is function of epsilon greater than 0 again, and this is since I am assuming that x equal to 0 is my equilibrium point. So initial distance of initial condition x0 from 0 is x0. Now if that is less than 0, then distance of xt, that is future trajectory, that is less than epsilon. And in the previous class we have already drawn the diagram. We are telling, okay, if I have this kind of region and this is my output ball epsilon, then corresponding to output ball I am going to draw some kind of input ball, and if I start anywhere, then I am going to leave in this ball. Please be careful. If you exactly start from here, you cannot move because this is the equilibrium point x0 equal to 0, I am assuming. So this is my equilibrium point. So I am not going to set my initial condition x0 equal to 0. I am going to set some kind of finite initial condition. And if I have this kind of behavior, then we are telling that system is stable. And equivalently, in terms of ball, I have told you that whenever we have certain kind of norm, this is norm, you can take 2 norm or p norm, whatever. So here corresponding to each norm I have certain kind of ball, and I am not carrying the shape of ball. And after that what I am telling that if initial condition is remains in delta ball, then and if we are able to make sure that xt again belongs to the output ball, that is function of epsilon, then it is possible to find for every epsilon, it is possible to find some kind of delta. You can interpret like this, because whenever we are talking about definition is true in both direction, means if and only if condition we are telling. It means that if this is possible, then this is possible. If you assume this, then this is also possible. That is the meaning. So what I have observed from my past experience, most of time students are facing lot of difficulty whenever they try to formulate this kind of ball, delta and epsilon ball. Due to that reason, some more basic is required. So I am going to explain this basic using this particular slide. So what I am telling that, first, if you understand the definition of the limit, it is possible to understand the definition of continuity, and somehow stability is related to the continuity. So let us try to see the this definition. So what I am telling that, because limit, whenever we have started calculus, from that time onward we are reading the definition of limit. So here I am going to state same definition in form of epsilon and delta, and it is possible to match this definition with the definition of stability. So what we are telling, suppose I have some function fx, so y equal to fx, I have drawn some arbitrary function, and here x axis and here I have y axis. What I am telling, if x tending to a, then I have L, and I have already told you that every definition, whenever we are proposing some definition, then this condition means if and only if. It means that if this is limit, then this kind of things is true. If this is true, then fx has a limit equal to L. So what we are telling, for every epsilon. So, and I have already told you that epsilon is somehow related to output. So suppose if you are giving independent variable x as a some number, then corresponding y variable comes into picture, and that variable is reflected somewhere here. And after that, what we are telling, that corresponding to every epsilon there exists delta. So if I fix epsilon, then there exists delta, and you see that delta is somehow I am giving. So independent quantity is delta, but first I have to fix the dependent quantity such that x minus a. So since this is one dimensional function, due to that reason, meaning of absolute value or meaning of norm both are same, and I am talking about limit about a. Due to that reason, I have created ball around a, and that ball is x minus a less than delta. So I am talking about ball across this. So you can see that here I am talking about a minus delta plus a plus delta. If you geometrically plot, if you are willing to plot this, then you are able to find some point or interval from here to here. And after that, now I have to apply function. So if you apply function on x, so that is fx. If you apply function fa, because I am assuming that f as x tending towards a, then I have limit L, and that is less than 0. And if you now recall the definition of the stability, at that time also, for every output ball, we try to find the ball of initial condition, that is function of epsilon, and this is the initial condition ball, and this is final condition ball. But at that time we are talking about higher dimensional space, and in higher dimensional space one can define the distance, notion of distance, with help of norm. So you can free to choose any kind of norm, because this is finite dimensional space we are assuming. Now let us try to see the explanation. So what is explanation? In general, the value of delta is depending on the value of epsilon. I have already told you that first I am fixing ball around y-axis, and corresponding to that I am plotting ball around the x-axis. So that is, we will always begin with epsilon and then determine an appropriate corresponding value of delta. And obviously there are many value of delta which work. So after fixing epsilon, then one can have confusion that for every epsilon I have several delta. Then how to calculate the delta? So things is that once you find a value that works, all a smaller value of delta also work. So that is the beauty. So you have to just find the some value of delta which this relation is true. And if you are able to find some value of delta smaller than that delta, and delta is always positive, so 0 to delta will work. And this is the explanation. I have already told you that we first pick an epsilon band around the number L on the y-axis, and after that we then determine a delta band around the number A on the x-axis, so that all x value excluding A inside the delta band. Because I have already told you that means I am here. If you are here, then you are able to find the value. What is value? Just you can put value inside this. But now we have to see that when x tending towards A, when x is not exactly A, then what is the situation of this function? That is the meaning. And I have told you that then we get close enough delta to A so that all corresponding y-axis fall inside the epsilon ball. And if a delta can found for each value of epsilon, then we have proven that L is the correct limit. And if there is a single epsilon for which this process fails, then L has been incorrectly computed or the limit doesn't exist. So we have to make sure that for every epsilon, you can choose epsilon very large. Corresponding to that epsilon, there should be one delta. Then only I am telling that fx as x tending towards A equal to L means f function f x has some limit as x tending towards A, and that limit is L. So try to see one simple example how basically people are calculating. So suppose I have some function ln x and x tending towards A. So we have to prove that their limit is ln A. So again I have to formulate the epsilon delta ball in order to prove the limit. So I have already told you that I have to begin with the output ball, or epsilon means whatever outcome. So epsilon, so begin by letting epsilon be given, find delta which depends on epsilon, so that this relation will satisfy. So from definition I am telling that limit exists if this condition is satisfied. Now what happens that in order to show that since I have fixed the output ball, so due to that reason whenever you are trying to prove epsilon delta stability, epsilon delta limit, and luckily continuity definition is also same, because if you talk about continuity, how basically we are talking, if left hand limit, right hand limit, and limit at that point is equal, then function is continuous. And similar kind of extension, if you just substitute absolute value by some kind of norm, then similar definition is applicable. So just you have to do replacement. Okay, and why replacement actually give the continuity, I will explain that kind of things in the next year of the course, because that is more mathematically involved. Then you are able to really picturize why people are replacing absolute value by some kind of norm. So let us start with the epsilon ball, and after that try to formulate this condition fx minus ln A in terms of x minus A, because somehow what we are telling that distance along the y-axis is somehow reflected along the independent quantity about the x-axis. If we are able to form that kind of distance, then we are telling that function has a limit. So somehow by doing calculation I have to introduce this kind of term x minus A, and this particular problem I can use the mean value theorem. I hope that you all are well aware about the mean value theorem, where A and B are both positive quantity, and if fx is continuous in closed interval AB and differentiable also, and so ln x is differentiable in this particular interval on open interval AB. So according to mean value theorem, I hope that you all are well aware about the mean value theorem. So you have to calculate the extreme value fb minus fa by b minus a equal to differential of f dash c. So differential of f. Now if you substitute everything, then you are able to get this kind of condition. So now since in between I have some point c, So it is possible to show that 1 by b less than or equal to 1 by c less than or equal to 1 by a. So using this relation, now I am going to write like this: ln b minus ln a equal to b minus a, because somehow if you start fx minus ln a, you have to come to the x minus a, and due to that reason we are going to formulate inequality like this, and this is obvious. From this inequality I can write like this. So now I have two situations. It might possible x is greater than a, or in second situation x is less than a. It means that I have to approach from both sides, left hand side and right hand side. So suppose first you can assume x greater than a, and if you assume x greater than a, it is possible to show this kind of inequality: x minus a less than a epsilon. Now you can choose the delta ball. Delta ball is nothing but a epsilon, and due to that reason I have told you that once you fix the epsilon ball, delta ball is automatically fixed if some function has a limit, if function is continuous, or if some kind of solution is stable. So what we have observed that till now, that whenever we are talking about stability, I need some kind of function. So if you have differential equation, then just solve that differential equation. That gives you function, and again similar kind of definition is applicable. So somehow continuity or limit helps in the formulation of epsilon and delta ball. Now let us see the second situation. If x less than a, if x less than a, and we are very close to x equal to a, because we are talking about continuity at some point x equal to a, or limit at point x equal to a. So due to that reason I am assume that x is greater than a by 2, and if I will assume this, then 1 by x equal to less than 2 by a, and after that you have to substitute this condition. So you can see that here delta ball that comes into picture, again a epsilon by 2. So in this way, after that, after doing this, you have to take the you have to make sure that both value will satisfy. So basically delta is a epsilon by 2. So in this way I can tell that again function is continuous from the left. Function has limit from left hand side, right hand side, and point of that, so function is also continuous, and this completes the proof. So from this particular exercise, perhaps you are able to understand that how basically people are formulating the epsilon delta definition in terms of single order system, means first order system. Then solution of first order differential equation is some kind of function, one dimensional function. Again using absolute value you can do that. But suppose if you have second order system, then again solution lie in two dimensional space. So again, in order to see limit at some point or continuity about some point, you have to replace absolute value into some kind of norm, some kind of equivalent norm. Two norm is more comfortable. Sometimes people are using infinite norm. Now you are able to understand that how to calculate the norm. So with this remark, now I am going to solve some question that is related to the stability of dynamical systems. So I have already told you that if you understood stability of nonlinear system about some equilibrium point, it is possible to extend same kind of definition for linear system. So due to that reason, first problem I am going to consider, that is one kind of nonlinear system, x dot equal to minus 1 plus sine square x multiplied by x, and I am assuming that x belongs to R, some kind of real number. So x dot is dx by dt. So before going to talk about the stability, because I have already told you that stability means if my initial condition is changed by some amount, then whatever output, that is also not going to change very large, means somehow I have some kind of definite relation between input is initial condition, and output, that is the meaning. So since this is one dimension, so absolute value is enough. So first I have solved this particular differential equation, and you can see that solution of this equation is not easy, but what I have done, since this term we know that is always positive, 1 plus sine square x, so you can take any value of sine x, that is always positive. So due to that reason, if I calculate limit of 0 to t, so what happens, that here negative sign is there, so always 1 plus some quantity, and minimum value of sine square xt is 0. So I will start with minimum value, at that value I have keep here. So due to that reason inequality comes into picture, and once inequality comes into picture, now you can recall the definition. So in stability, what we are telling that for every epsilon, so this ball I have x0, if I fix the next ball means xt equal to epsilon, then corresponding to epsilon it is possible to find the delta. And this is not only satisfy the definition of stability, this satisfy the definition of exponential stability, because if you check the definition of exponential stability, then xt and x0 is related like this, and here this is exponent. So I have told you that I have three different classes of stability. In one stability we are just talking about the bondedness of solution. So if I give some initial condition, whatever my solution comes into picture, that remains bonded. Second type of stability is called asymptotic stability. It means that we are no longer means not only we are bonded in some bigger ball, after large time I will again converge to the equilibrium point. That is the beauty of exponential means asymptotic stability. And in asymptotic stability, it means that we are, along with stability, we are talking about convergence. Third thing, that we are talking about at what rate particular trajectory is converged to the equilibrium point, and that is called exponential stability. And how basically one can define epsilon stability, we have seen that using this kind of formula. So, and please try to see here, if some system is exponentially stable, automatically that is asymptotic stable, because you can take any initial condition x0, even if x0 is infinity, you are able to find that after some time, because this term e power minus t, that is going to decay as t tending towards infinity. It means that finally what happens, that this term is very small and we converge to the equilibrium point. Due to that reason I am claiming that is also asymptotically stable, because I have given the condition that xt tending towards 0 as t tending towards infinity. And stability obvious, because whenever something is exponentially stable, asymptotically stable, it means that trajectory, output trajectory, if we are giving some kind of initial condition, that always remains bounded. So in this way I can check about the all to stability. So whenever you are able to prove exponentially something is exponentially stable, there is no need to check about the asymptotic stability and stability. Obviously if something is stable, then it doesn't mean that something is also asymptotic stable or something is also exponentially stable, but in reverse direction it is always possible. Now let us try to take one linear system, and I have taken the second order linear system, and here I am assuming that this parameter zeta is positive, so I have zeta greater than 0, and this is second order system. And suppose you have certain kind of x equal to 0 is the equilibrium point of this system. It is pretty easy to check, because determinant of this is no longer 0. So I have only one solution, x1 equal to 0 and x2 equal to 0. Now suppose you have to check the stability of this particular equilibrium point of this particular system, then again you have to formulate condition in terms of epsilon and delta. And what is first step? Somehow you have to guess the solution. So there are various numerical software which are available, which is able to solve the differential equation. Otherwise you have to take some kind of a standard technique and you have to solve this differential equation. And due to that reason we are telling that actually epsilon delta stability notion is means little difficult to check, because most of time we are unable to solve some kind of nonlinear equation. But for if I have linear equation, then we have already seen that how to solve that. Or even if I have non-autonomous linear LTI system, linear time invariant system, then a time invariant or time varying system, we have already seen that I can find the closed form solution. So I can always write solution for time means linear systems. So checking epsilon and delta stability is not difficult. So somehow I will formulate this kind of solution, and it is pretty easy to check. After differentiating, you can try to see that same solution will appear or not, whatever this will satisfy this differential equation or not. After that, after fixing this solution, now you see that I have to fix the ball of initial condition, and I am assuming that x10 I have started when x10 value is c1 and x20 value is c2, and how to form ball, because this is two-dimensional system, so I have to apply norm, and I am assuming that I have applied here 2 norm. Most of time people are writing 2 like this. It means that we are taking 2 norm, and 2 norm of this is c1 square plus c2 square. So in this way I can able to formulate this condition, and after that it is possible to show that x0, that is now x1 and x2 ball of both, so c1 is less than x1 x0 and c2, so this condition is always satisfied. Now you have to start from the output ball, and then you have to talk about the relation with respect to input ball. That is the way we are most of time we are proceeding. So due to that reason, I have seen the future trajectory, that is xt, and I know the solution. So from the solution I have put x square here and x2 square here. And if you put this solution here, and after that if you use this kind of triangular inequality, because this inequality is very very famous, most of time during preparation time you might have seen this kind of inequality, and after that just now I have to put everything here, and it is possible to show that after taking the common, this is c1 and this is c2, and what is other thing, that I can write c1 and c2 in terms of x0. So what we have seen from here, so now this is just play of inequality, you have to play with inequality. So c1 less than equal to x0, c2 less than equal to x0, and due to that reason I can come up with this particular inequality like this. Now you can see that this term, this whole term, and e power zeta t is multiplied with this term. So, and obviously this term is positive, always positive, because I am talking about a square root of some quantity, and you all are aware that that is positive. So now what I have to do, and we all also know that epsilon greater than 0, so it is confirmed that as t tending towards infinity, at that time somehow this function is decreasing. So even if this function will increase, then we are tending towards the infinity. So first what you have to do, first you have to make sure that there exists certain kind of maxima for this function or not. We know that as t tending towards infinity, that is 0. So due to that reason we are telling, okay, some quantity is first increase and after that decrease, then always there exists certain kind of maxima, and due to that reason I have to calculate the value of maxima m. So there is no need to, during proof there is no need to calculate the exact value, just by logic you have to make convinced that there exists some kind of maxima, and I have used that maxima equal to m. Now you have to reuse this, and after that you are able to come up with this kind of solution. And here you can see that this is again, this particular system is again exponentially stable. So one more very general result is like this: if some linear system, you can take any linear system, if that is a stable LTI system particularly, then it is possible to show that that is exponentially stable. That is just true for linear system about the equilibrium point x equal to 0, and whole system we are telling that because x0 ball you can start anywhere, means we are talking about global stability of equilibrium point, because what is meaning of linear system means behavior remains throughout the same. So whatever behavior inside x0 finite ball, same kind of behavior I can expand up to infinity, and due to that reason always I am talking about globally exponential stability. It means that all linear systems are globally exponentially stable, and obviously I can now formulate the epsilon delta ball. So delta ball is epsilon by m. In this way one can formulate the epsilon delta ball, and formulation is very very simple. If you take delta E by epsilon by m, and then x0 is less than delta epsilon by m, and by adjusting it is possible to show that that is less than epsilon, means if something is exponentially stable, that is also stable. That is the meaning. Now let us try to come with some problem where time varying system is involved, because I have told you that I have two class of system, autonomous system and non-autonomous system. Whenever we are talking about Lyapunov stability, at that time most of time we are just talking stability of the unforced system, means forcing function equal to 0, or we have designed forcing function in such a way such that my closed loop system either represented by autonomous differential equation or non-autonomous differential equation. So here I have considered this simple differential equation, because why most of time I am taking simple differential equation, because solution of differential equation I have to make sure that there exists some kind of solution, and I know the solution, then only I am able to formulate epsilon and delta ball. So due to that reason, what I am going to do, I am going to solve it, and solution of this is pretty easy. You can solve like this. Now you try to see this term minus t square. What happens that you can take any value of t0, the term minus t square will eventually dominate, which shows that this term, whatever this term is exponentially bounded term for all t greater than equal to t0. So you can select any t0, and t square is dominate, because here sin t0 is some kind of function t0, so and here that is linear multiplication of t0. So here I have two terms 6t sorry and t square. So obviously t square is dominate, and it is possible to show that for all t greater than equal to 0, this function, whatever I have function, that is bounded, and I can write like this. And again, now I have to choose delta. And how to choose delta? I have already told you that this ball should be less than equal to epsilon. So you can write everything as epsilon, and automatically you can able to get what is my delta. And here it is possible to show that delta is function of epsilon as well as the initial time. So that is, this case is little bit different from the autonomous case. It means that future trajectory, if I fix on epsilon ball, they might exist, there may exist some kind of delta such that there is function of initial time also. But for autonomous system, that is not the case. But some kind of non-autonomous system also shows similar behavior like autonomous system. So for that I have taken very simple example. If you consider this system, then again you try to see that xt equal to xt0 exponential 0 to t 1 by 1 minus tau. If you solve this, then you are able to get this kind of things. Now as t tending towards t0, it is possible to show that for all t0 I have this kind of condition. So it means that for every epsilon ball there exists, one can choose delta ball that is independent. Now that is not depending on the value of t0, and this is called uniform stability. We have already seen that what is meaning of uniform stability. And here you also able to see that t tending towards infinity, as t tending towards infinity, xt tending towards 0, means I have some kind of exponential stability. So with these examples, and I will again give more example in the next part of this course. So what we have seen that whenever we have to talk stability of any linear system or non-linear system, when forcing function is absent, or such, or in other way, if we already design the forcing function, then in order to talk about the epsilon delta stability about the equilibrium point, first we have to solve the differential equation, and using some kind of inequality, norm inequality, or if we have one dimensional case, then absolute value, I can calculate the epsilon delta ball. And somehow notion of the stability is inspired from the continuity. For the one dimensional case, you are able to understand it very clearly, because somehow what we are telling that left hand limit, right hand limit, and limit at that point is equal. So stability means somehow we have some certain kind of continuity in neighborhood of some point. So in this way also you are able to visualize the stability. So with this remark, I am going to stop today's lecture, and after that again I will take one and two more lecture related to stability, because stability is one of the most important notion. And what we have seen that in this particular way to ensure stability, it is very difficult for large class of system, because solution of large number of differential equation is not a easy job. Due to that reason, we have to again talk about some other kind of stability, where without solving differential equation we are able to make sure that that abstract system is stable and corresponding physical system is also stable. And that is the first part of the Lyapunov theory is based on epsilon delta definition, and with help of this definition they have formulated some kind of condition, algebraic condition, and just using algebraic condition you are able to make sure about the stability, and that is more interesting. So I am going to talk about that in the next part of this course. So thank you very much.